Chillax. Okay. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to From Kentucky to Tokyo. And yes, I have gotten a haircut. And I really like it. I like how short this is. I think it's gonna be my new thing. I'm excited. So anyway, besides that, today we're talking about what to do after Jet. So I got this question a long while ago when I posted my typhoon video. That was like 2 weeks ago. Sorry, instant tofu. I meant to do a more yes, complicated video. That's not right. A more thorough video about what I was talking about earlier, but life happened. So testing season in Japan is a tough biz. So anyway, yeah, the post life of Jet. What can you do and what can't you do? And the answer to that is very complicated. So basically, it depends on what you did before Jet, what you did during Jet, as to what you can do after Jet. So, let's begin. For example, let's take me. In my life in Jet, I did a few things to try and prepare for life after Jet. I was on the AJET Council for a brief period in time. I didn't do very well at all, but I was on it, and it's something that I could put on my resume. I did community service-y kind of things. I did a whole bunch of blogging, and I'm still vlogging, obviously, and now I'm vlogging. I wish I had started vlogging earlier, actually. Then I would have had better experience for now, and maybe even more I don't know, I would have maybe had more opportunities that could have been available to me if I had started doing that earlier. So, yeah, I did a whole bunch of things, to put on my resume, but I also enjoyed them, and I wanted to do them, obviously. I attended English camps, I did conversation competitions, I did a whole variety of things. I took a lot of opportunities, and then I didn't take a whole lot of opportunities, which I'm going to talk about in a second. So, when I went to my post-Jet life, I was able to keep doing English teaching things. Which was fine, and that's what I kind of planned on, but I kind of closed the door on a lot of my options that I could do. So, I'll explain. One thing that I didn't do on Jet, which I will recommend to people, is study Japanese really, really hard. Take the JLPT and pass it, if possible, while on Jet. It's really hard to get any kind of job that's not teaching English related unless you've passed at least JLPT in 2. JLPT, Japanese Language Proficiency Test. The JLPT is basically the certificate to be able to prove that you are fluent in Japanese. I say it like this because it's not really a test of how well you speak, it's just kanji recognition. You don't even have to write it. You just have to recognize the correct kanji, vocabulary, grammar, listening, and that's it. So you have to study. I say that's it, but it's a pretty difficult test. So you have to study and study and study, and I highly, highly, highly recommend that if you want to do anything else besides teaching English, or even teaching English, you never know what's going to happen. So learning Japanese, getting the JLPT, it'll make your life a lot easier when you're trying to apply for jobs later. Also, if and when you ever get the opportunity to get a TEFL or TESL, I forget the certification name, I believe it's TEFL, but teaching English as a foreign language, or teaching English as a second language. On the JET program, when I was there, I don't know about now, but when I was there, you could get this certificate for an online training course, and you get a discount off to take it. I recommend you do it. Even though I didn't do it because I don't want to teach forever. I just want to teach while I'm in Japan, at least. And the thing is, though, when you want to get a direct hire position, or if you want to get a really good position, having that certification is way better. They'll always look at people who have the certifications over the people who don't. Doesn't matter how many years you've been teaching. Doesn't matter if you went to university to get anything. It doesn't matter. They are going to be looking at, do you have all of these certifications first? And then they'll move on to the rest of it. So yeah. So I recommend taking those opportunities if and when you can. So, there we go. Now, what jobs can you do after? The jobs specifically that I went through after are a Kiowa dispatch company and direct hire. So what are all the differences? A Kiowa, I went to Kokojuku A Kiowa, which I recommend if you need like visa sponsorship, especially. They are really great at that. They did all my paperwork for me. I don't know if that's normal, but they just like went ahead, filled it all out. I just had to fill in like my personal information, and then that's it. And then I just handed it over to the visa office. So Kokojuku, personally, I found that they were like really professional and they were willing to work with employees at first. But once you're settled into your placement, then they're not really so great in terms of communication with like employees to the upper management and whatnot. But anyway, A Kiowa. What A Kiowa is you're teaching usually adults, but sometimes there are some A Kiowas for children, but you'll be teaching usually one-on-one or in a group, which is about maybe 2, 4, 6 people, usually not that many people. And you'll be teaching them usually English conversation. You're not teaching them grammar-wise. Every once in a while, my A Kiowa did like TOEIC preparation, and they did test prep for various things. Then there was grammar and... Okay, so sometimes we did that. But for the most part, reading and writing English is not the deal. It's usually just focusing on conversation, getting people to talk, and that's it. That's basically it. They have textbooks, and you follow the textbooks, and you have them talk. That's all. But A Kiowa, the problem for me was with the hours. So the hours of the A Kiowa are usually from like noon to like 9, or from like 1 o'clock to about 10, I think. So long daylight hours. Like you eat up all your daylight basically, and it can be kind of tough to get used to. Even though I got used to that, I burnt out really quickly because I was working Saturdays and Sundays. I'll go ahead and preface with this. That's not normal for A Kiowa. Usually, though, you will have to work one weekend day. So either Saturday or Sunday. And then you get, like, a split shift. So you'll take off Tuesday and have Sunday off. Or you'll take Saturday off and have Monday off or something like that. But yeah, it can be kind of tough to get used to. And also, like, it's not a school. So it's not like teacher to student relations in the way that it is with a school. Like, you're not kind of in charge. Like, the people who are paying are in charge, and so are the managers. And I don't know, it can be kind of stressful between like what the student wants versus what the company wants you to sell versus this and that and the other. It can be kind of tough in that respect. But if you need visa support, and if you want to be able to have a more like, not so constraining, like, workplace events, like, I'm not, at like my junior high school, they were very conservative, and there weren't a lot of like English speakers around, but at Kiowa there were many different English speakers, and it was kind of more laid back, and like nobody was asking nobody was in my business as much. Like, I was left to my own devices, which was kind of nice. So, there are pros and cons to it. But the pay is kind of okay. It's not fantastic, but it's okay. And if you work more hours, you get more money. If you work less hours, you get less money. If you don't show up, there's very few companies that do paid holidays for A Kiowa. I got 10 paid holidays after being there for 6 months. So that is one good perk about working at Kokojuku. You do get paid holidays, but they're not that many. It's only 10. And usually what ends up happening is people will get sick, and they use those as their sick days. And then, other days they just don't get paid. So yeah, it can be kind of rough. So that's A Kiowa. Then there's dispatch companies, which I really don't recommend, even though mine was alright. I went with Wing Incorporated. I do and don't recommend them at the same time. Like, my supervisor was amazing. I loved my supervisor. She was an amazing person, and her English was fantastic. She was always willing to talk with me and help me out. But as a company, I didn't really like their way of doing things. Like, they didn't tell me, like my supervisor says she did, but I do not remember reading in the contract. And I even looked at my contract and it doesn't say specifically about this, but there is no pension help. There's no health insurance help. There's no, I don't know. They don't pay any of that. Or like, they don't pay any of the premiums for that. And that just, I was fairly certain that was not so legal, but I checked and it turns out that yes, actually it is, but it's still kind of shady. So I don't know how to say this. I don't want to commit slander, but at the same time, there are certain companies that'll try and find as many workarounds as possible so that they don't have to pay you, like they don't have to pay your full-time employee benefits that they're supposed to. So according to what I was being paid, I was paid more than like my contract employee should have been, but at the same time, it wasn't enough really to cover all of the expenses for living in Japan. And so I would end up either breaking even or being like in the red some months, and it was just really stressful. And that was even with my rent was actually pretty cheap back then. And I just, I did not have fun. So, yeah, I don't really recommend dispatch companies. It's the companies themselves I just don't recommend. The people who work for companies, it's not their fault. Like, it's just how companies are. So I don't recommend it. And, there have been some horror stories that have come out of a certain company that begins with H, ends in art. Many people who've worked for them have said that, like, they'll cut out your transportation money, or the supervisors will just suddenly disappear and you will have no way of contacting anybody to help you out, and et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, there are some dispatch companies that are really bad and do actually do like kind of, I don't know, like against the law sort of things. So yeah, I really don't try not to, if you can, don't work for a dispatch company. It's not worth it. Okay. And then there's direct hire position. Direct hire is hard to get. It's like the holy grail of like, jobs to get in Japan, but it is possible to get it. The way I did it, I don't recommend this route, but I went behind my company's back and I did a proposal to my school and I let them know I'm not staying with my company. I am going to stay with you though if you direct hire me. And my company was like, well, all right, fine. So we had negotiations, we sat down and we talked, and the school decided to keep me and to let the company go, which was actually a very big move because they've had that company for eons. And I just come in and I kind of, hey, sorry, break that. So the way that I'm doing this right now is I'm hoping to make a good relationship with my school. I'm going to help them find my replacement after I'm done, which will be in about a year and a half or two or something like that. I'm not sure how long, but I'm going to stay here a while and then I'm going to have somebody come in after me, and it'll be somebody that I've personally vetted and have like, and I know their qualifications. That will be my route to go. And that's usually how people find direct hire positions, is actually they know a friend of a friend or their network of associates. They'll find somebody who knows somebody who has a direct hire position that's about to come open, and then they take that position. So, recommendation for while you're in JET, actually, find people who know people. Find like gateway people and get to know them at least professionally. Do more networking while you're in JET, or learn how to network while you're in JET. Learn how to, the business cards, the May sheet that you will have in JET program, give those away. And don't be afraid to like kind of be pushy and be like, here, keep my card. Because that networking is very important for post-JET life, for people who will remember you, people will be able to call you if, say, they have an opening available. I didn't do that as much as I should have. I did it, but I didn't do it as much as I should have. And I didn't keep my business cards on me 24/7 or anything. But I kept them on when I went to, say, high school debate stuff, or I went to, say, the conversation competitions. I would take my card and I would go there, and I'd sometimes give them away to new people. When I worked with people on JET, it wasn't really necessary, but people who were, say, Interac, or people who were working at universities and things like that, I would give them my card. Because it's very important to expand your network of people who have possible available things for you after JET. So yeah, and university positions, speaking of, this is also something you could do after JET, but usually they want you to at least have a master's degree, or they want you to have a qualification to teach, or sometimes even both. Like, there's a little bit more of a higher up qualification requirement in order to become a university professor, part-time or full-time. So yeah, it can be kind of tough. But those jobs are available. There are many universities in Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto that really do need people. And sometimes, every once in a while, somebody will get part-time hired based on networking. Like, they'll know somebody who they go, oh, this person's very responsible, great at teaching. I've seen their classes. I went to a classroom demonstration. I recommend this person for a position. So that's good. And there's also recruitment. So university recruitment offices, and even, I forget what the term is called, but let's say they want people to come to the science department, or they want somebody to do promotion for a certain kind of branch of the university. Those jobs are also available for English speakers, but also hard to get. Not all the time, but also hard to get. You can do them in post-JET, but once again, network. If you've got people in your network who know people, it's really good for you. And then you can maybe get those jobs. But yeah, those are some of the things you can do after JET. But those are specifically, for me, what's in my wheelhouse, and that's in terms of teaching English after JET. But there are so many options. If you want to stay in Japan specifically and do things in Japan, like I said, JLPT, probably #1 recommended resource available to you. Do it. Do it. But then after that, if you want to do software engineering, if you want to do any kind of tech-related field, if you have the degree for it, dude, you're so set. They need so many people for the 2020 Olympics. Like, if you just say, I have a degree in software, job. So don't be afraid to get that. If you've got that job, you probably got it. And yeah, that's pretty much like the two main things. But there are jobs available. There are so many other jobs available, but it does depend on your experience. It does depend on your qualifications. It does depend on your certifications and what you did during JET and before JET. But yeah. So, yeah, so that's some of the options that you can do after JET. If you have any questions about post-JET life, about certain careers in Japan, I don't know. Like I said, my wheelhouse is teaching English in Japan. But if you want to know about other things, by all means, comment below. I'll ask my friends. I've got friends who are in other things, who are much more successful than me, who I can ask and beg to give me information about how to get those jobs. So, yeah, this has been Jessica from Kentucky to Tokyo, and please like this if you liked it, and subscribe if you would like, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.